Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Saturday, October 15th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The chairman of the Socialist Movement for Integration, Ilir Meta, held a meeting with his party's structures in Durrës, where he stressed that the SMI is a factor of the stability in the country. It is support and sympathy that comes foremost in the positive message the SMI transmits. The SMI has demonstrated that it is a factor of stability. Secondly, the SMI gives a positive message in policy making through cooperation, dialogue, reasoning, logic, good intentions, and trying to put policy at the citizen's service. It is not a conflicting, tiring, or stressful political force. Our commitment to consensus for the judicial reform is historic. If the reform was made without consensus, there would have been an unprecedented mess for 20 years in our country. Our commitment for many other important issues is indicative of our responsibility, said the chairman, adding that the strength of the SMI is their respect for people as well as their accountability in politics, showing fairness to all. I think the strength of the SMI lies in its positive message of respect for all people. We are always correct with them, and this is very important. Above all, our strength lies in the young people, to their extensive participation. We are very restrained and responsible in politics. It is easy to lose one's temper and make a hasty decision, but then it takes time to correct the mistakes. People want trust. People want seriousness. The SMI is in a very positive moment because it is a growing political force that is stable and strong. In 2017, the SMI will be a political force able to offer even more guarantee than today, so that the country does not experience unnecessary conflicts or hasty reforms that often create new and unnecessary problems instead of solving old problems, continued Meta. The Socialist Movement for Integration's chairman declared that the period before the November 6th elections within the party should be used to improve the SMI's representation at all levels. The European Commission has prepared its report on EU candidate countries, noting that the Albanian economy grew according to its predictions. The European Commission says economic growth for Albania in 2016 was 3.2%, with an expected growth of 3.5% for next year. In its latest report on the candidate countries, the Commission notes that economic growth is a result of strengthened domestic demand. All components of domestic demand contributed positively to the GDP growth, said the EC. The Commission notes that household spending accelerated in the second quarter, increasing by 4%, and though at a slower pace than the previous quarter, investments increased by 4.4%. The Commission also noted that output growth is associated with lower unemployment. The labor market recorded a notable improvement between April and June, strengthening the positive trend of previous quarters, the EC estimates. Regarding the budget, the European Commission noted that the increase in revenue and lower costs contributed to a budget surplus of 0.9% for the GDP. Public debt is reported to have risen from 70.4% in the first quarter to 70.9% in the second quarter, possibly due to the exchange rate. Another area of concern, according to the Commission, remains the slow performance of lending to businesses and the high level of non-performing loans. The report also noted the recent developments in Albania, highlighting the approval of the judicial reform, which the European Commission believes will improve the business climate. Prime Minister Edi Rama commented today on the reform in higher education, considering it to be a historic turning point. At the graduation ceremony of a private university, Prime Minister Rama said that the results of the education reform will be felt in a few years. We are now at a historic turning point for higher education as the reform in higher education is being implemented. It is a profound reform. The implementation will not be easy, but its results will be felt in the coming years. The old system was not transparent. The reform in education creates equality. Admissions in universities will be made based on merit. All those who meet the criteria will be admitted to the universities. This is a process which allows students to be admitted into the university they deserve to be. The reform places the fate of everyone in their own hands. From the time of entering high school, students will have their own fate in their own hands. This is a historical turning point for high school, Prime Minister Rama declared. The Democratic Party chairman, Lungomari, held a meeting with the Democratic Party structures in Devol, where he reiterated his accusations against the Prime Minister. Democratic Party chairman commented again on the issue of narcotics, reiterating his accusations against the Prime Minister and the Minister of Interior. Edi Rama has not kept his promises. He promised order and security, but in reality he is serving crime and criminals. He appointed criminals as members of parliament and mayors of cities. He gave important offices in police, customs offices, tax offices to criminals, turning these offices that are used for citizen services into criminal organizations. In 3 years, Edi Rama has managed to criminalize the state, to cover Albania with cannabis, and to increase unemployment, declared Mr. Basha. The Democratic Party chairman emphasized that people connected to the Prime Minister are getting rich, while poverty has increased by 90% for Albanian citizens. The Prime Minister defends those who are wanted by police. He helps those convicted to escape. He has deals with Albania and the Balkans' renowned criminals. On the other hand, he arrests unprotected citizens. This is Edi Rama's state in 3 years. There is no economic aid for the needy, no pension increases for the retirees, no jobs for the unemployed. He promised tax cuts, salary increases, pension increases, free health care, free legalizations. But Edi Rama has violated the contract he had with the citizens, concluded the Democratic Party's chairman. On this International White Cane Safety Day, the Minister of Social Welfare and Youth asked the institutions to adapt their grounds so that the disabled can have access. In order to be more sensitive of the blind, the Minister of Social Welfare closed his eyes for several minutes and then went to his office with his eyes closed. The minister said that authorities should guarantee access to specific infrastructure and disability payments for this group. The Ministry of Social Welfare has all the necessary signs that will help the blind community to be better oriented. This should also be made in all other state institutions. We should continue with our effort to offer access to the disabled people and children, the minister declared. The Minister of Social Welfare commented on the economic aid and the new law on social services, which he feels has the disabled in its focus. According to the minister, the reforms will enable economic aid to go directly to the recipients, avoiding bureaucracies. The work on Vlora's coastline, otherwise known as the Lungomari project, is now 70% completed. Vlora City Hall has suspended work during the summer in order to avoid pollution problems during the tourist season and now has resumed work. Vlora's mayor was optimistic about the project being completed in time for next year's tourist season, saying, "The project will give Vlora a new appearance. The project is going fast, and I think it will be finished by summer of 2017. As the project works towards realization, and as the work has continued again, the mayor has encountered citizen protests over their concerns for the heavy traffic due to the construction and pollution damage to the coastline. The mayor is asking for their understanding and guaranteeing that the Lungomari is an ambitious project for the city, which will occupy a length of 5 kilometers and was designed by architect Xavier de Gater. The underground work for the project has already been completed and foresees the construction of a park, a sports area, and bicycle lanes. The investment is financed by the EU and the Albanian government with about 12 million euros. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.